Alright, welcome back to the channel. I'm sorry it's been a little while since I've put up a video. Haven't really had too much to do, on the Mercedes. I haven't really bought too many parts for it over the last month, but I did order a set of H&R Springs sitting over here and some new ballisting shocks for it. And some people say that I'm going to ruin this Mercedes by lowering it like that, but I think it's going to be all right. It's what I want to do with it, and yeah. But I think we'll go ahead and we'll get started on the back of the car first, and go from there. All right. Well, we got the car jacked up, got the wheel pulled off of it, and I'm basically going to show you how I'm going to go about trying to get the spring out of here. First off, I'm going to try to I'm going to get in here and pull this bolt out of the CV axle back here and disconnect the brake caliper and undo the sway bar here. And I'm also going to undo the shock absorber up top. Actually, I'll probably just go ahead and take the shock absorber out, but it's pretty straightforward how to get it out of the bottom. But on this older W126, it's actually got a couple of places right here after you pull the back seat out that you can get into, and you can pop these covers off. I'll probably need a screwdriver to be able to do that. And you can just get in here, pop these covers off, and right there's the top of the shock. And now you've also got another cover down here that you can take and pop off, and you can see you can see the shock rod right there. And I don't know why they put this access panel here. No idea. But this right here, this is the top of your shock, and this is basically where it unbolts from. So we'll go ahead and I'll start getting all of this tore apart, and we'll see see if we can swing that suspension arm down, swing arm or trailing arm, whatever you want to call it. We'll try to get that swung down, and we'll see if we can get that spring out of there without a compressor. So here we go. Okay, I did manage to get that shock out of there without a compressor. Basically what I done, I got under here, got the whole swing arm here lifted up with my jack, and I took the shock out. I undone the bottom first, and then I got up top where I showed you before how it mounted up, and got that undone, and I took the shock out of there first. And then basically I got in here, undone the sway bar, CV shaft, and the caliper, and kind of got the caliper and CV shaft kind of positioned up and out of the way. And like I say, I didn't have to use the compressor to get that spring out, but it wasn't too hard to get it out of there. I got that swing arm dropped down pretty low, and I managed to get up in there and just kind of pull it out. but you know, it wasn't too bad. But I'll show you now, basically the difference between the old spring and the new spring. They're just, you know, the new spring is on the left there, and the old one, you know, as you can tell, is on the right. And you know, it's going to lower it down, um, you know, maybe about an inch and a half in the back, but I don't think it's going to be too drastic. And this right here, this is your, you know, your rubber insulator. I think that's what it's called. And now they do make these in different thicknesses. This one here is, you know, it's a little thick, but you know, I think it'll be all right. You know, I could go with something just a little bit thinner if I wanted to drop it down more, but that's, you know, that's not really what I'm looking for. You know, to drop it down too terribly low, but you know, I just want it, you know, to basically drive and ride just a little better. So now I guess we can go ahead and, you know, get that other spring put in and, you know, start putting it back together. All right, well, I got the rear end of the car done. You know, put the new springs and the new Blistine shocks in on the back. And now I'm going to get in here and start tackling the front of the car. As you can tell, I'm not wearing the same shirt that I was wearing previous in the video, because it's been almost a week. I decided after getting those springs out of the back that I wanted to find a better tool to be able to get these front springs out with, just because of the fact that I've heard that these springs under the front of these diesels are a lot, you know, they're just a lot more stiff than what is underneath the rear of these cars. So I went up and I bought a spring compressor from Pelican Parts, and it, you know, like I say, it took a little, it's been a little over a week since I got the back finished up on this, but I got the tool in, and I'm going to show you here after I get this spring taken out just exactly what kind of tool it was that I used to you know, compress these front springs. I've already done the one on the driver's side just to you know, kind of make sure that, you know, that tool would work and, you know, do it safely. You know, because if you get one of these springs, you know, compressed, that thing is basically a bomb. And if you don't, you know, if you don't safely compress it, yeah, that thing can come apart, and, you know, it might possibly kill you, you know, if it hits you in the head. But enough of that. I'll show you, you know, kind of how I get in here with that compressor to compress these springs in the front. And yeah. All right, as you can see right here, this is one of the bottom plates that go into the spring to compress it. And you can see right in here, that is the actual thing that comes down in between the spring and hooks into these cups. You know, there's one up here that, you know, whenever you screw this, well, basically big bolt down, it, you know, it compresses this cup up here and this cup right here, you know, together to, you know, basically be able to get the spring out. And I'll show you here, basically, what I had to do on this, being an SD, I had to take that air cleaner off just because there just wasn't enough room to be able to get that that whole basically bolt down and through there, because the air cleaner sticks out, you know, about right there where that extension is. So yeah, I basically had to take that air cleaner off to be able to get that whole assembly down in there. But yeah, that's the little turbo on these diesels. Not the biggest turbo, but you know, it's not as tiny as some newer General Motors or, you know, Fords I've seen. So, but yeah, well, I'll get in here and I'll get this spring compressed and get it out of there and kind of show you how all of that works. Okay, this is the spring after I got it, you know, compressed down, which, you know, it doesn't take too long to be able to get, uh, you know, that spring compressed and get it out. But you can see right there just how tight I had to compress that spring to be able to get it out. And, you know, like I was saying, you don't want to mess around with, you know, with these springs in a cheap compressor, because if that thing was to come undone, you wouldn't be having a very good day. So, but yeah, you know, you just really want to be extra safe when working with coil springs like this. All right, I got that spring decompressed, and you can see here just how much, you know, it's going to drop the front of the car basically. You know, it might not drop it down, you know, quite that much, just because, you know, this H&R spring is, you know, probably just a little bit stiffer than that old spring. So I don't think it's going to quite drop it down that much. But, you know, we'll see once we get it put into the car. But this right here, this is your spring compressor. Basically, you know, I showed you how it, you know, was put inside the spring, but it's got two different cups. You know, it's got this one up here, and then you got this one down here. This one here goes on the bottom, and you can see how it's got these cutouts put in it right here. This is where the bottom, basically, of this compressor goes in, and it hooks into these, you know, little cutouts. And up top here, you can see on this side, it's got these cutouts right here that these, you know, little tabs basically hook into to keep, you know, basically to keep everything from spinning. But basically, this spring, it just won't go back up in there. So I'll have to get it compressed, and then we can basically put it back up in there. But first, I want to get in here, and I want to get this spring plate here. I want to get it cleaned up. I'll take it off just because it'll make it a little bit easier to get these bolts out of the bottom of this shock, because I do have, you know, new shocks for the front of this. So yeah, we'll I'll get that taken off and get these bolts here on this bottom shock mount taken out, and yeah, then we can basically start going back together with it. All right, I got that spring decompressed, and you can see here just how much, you know, it's going to drop the front of the car basically. You know, it might not drop it down, you know, quite that much, just because, you know, this H&R spring is, you know, probably just a little bit stiffer than that old spring. So I don't think it's going to quite drop it down that much. But, we'll see once we get it put into the car. But this right here, this is your spring compressor. Basically, I showed you how it, was put inside the spring, but it's got two different cups. It's got this one up here, and then you got this one down here. This one here goes on the bottom, and you can see how it's got these cutouts put in it right here. This is where the bottom, basically, of this compressor goes in, and it hooks into these, little cutouts. And up top here, you can see on this side, it's got these cutouts right here that these, little tabs basically hook into to keep, basically to keep everything from spinning. But basically, this spring, it just won't go back up in there. So I'll have to get it compressed, and then we can basically put it back up in there. But first, I want to get in here, and I want to get this spring plate here. I want to get it cleaned up. I'll take it off just because it'll make it a little bit easier to get these bolts out of the bottom of this shock, because I do have, new shocks for the front of this. So yeah, I'll get that taken off and get these bolts here on this bottom shock mount taken out. And yeah, then we can basically start going back together with it. All right, well, I got the shock put back in. Had to put in, those two bolts down there at the bottom. I haven't put the top one in yet, just because I haven't yet. But to be able to get these bottom bolts in here, I basically had to take my wrench and, kind of trim it down just a little bit, because it really didn't want to fit in between, the housing here and, the bolt. So, I had to get in there and, grind down the, edge of it there, so that it would fit. But now, I got the spring down here. I've got it all compressed, and got the, the upper rubber, insulator put on top, because you don't want to forget that, because, if you don't put that on there, then that's really going to affect your ride height, because these here come in, gosh, I don't know how many different sizes, but, this one here is about, it's about a 1/2 inch thick. So, yeah, but we'll go ahead and see if I got that spring compressed down far enough, and we'll try to get it put up in there. Oh, and before I go ahead and do that, you can see right here in this spring mount, there's a little bit of a, you can see right here where the spring, well, where this mount kind of comes down and circles back around. And well, this right here, this is where you want the end of the spring to sit down into. Just kind of sit flat up against this little piece right here. So yeah, I'll see if I got that compressed down good enough, and we'll get it stuck up in there. And yeah, there you have it. Um, you can kind of see right here where the end of this spring kind of lines up with that right there. That's pretty much, how you want to get it lined up in there. And yeah, I'll go ahead and start loosening up that compressor, and yeah, we'll let it sit down in there. All right. Well, there you have it. Yeah, down on the ground, uh, on the new springs, uh, on the new shocks. You know, this thing used to have a horrible wheel gap in the front. I mean, for lack of better terminology, you could crawl up and take a nap in that wheel gap. But now, I mean, I can get my hand in there, but I mean, and it doesn't, I mean, I've compressed this thing down and it doesn't come down on the tire at all. Um, it doesn't feel, hard to push down on. It feels, about like what it did before with the stock springs under it. But, yeah, just to remind you, I ran H&R Springs on it all the way around with Blistine shocks, and yeah, next thing I guess is to take it out, drive it. I'll have to get it aligned at some point. But yeah, I think, just kind of looking down the side of the car, it does have, just a little bit of a rake to it. But, I think if I do anything to how it sits, I might just take it up just a little bit in the front with those spring spacers. But, I don't know. We'll just, kind of see how it goes, and yeah, but yeah, there you have it. If you have any questions on, basically anything that I've done on here, what kind of compressor I bought to compress the springs, just drop me a comment down in the comment section, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. And just so you do know, they do offer 2 different sets of Blistine shocks for these W126 cars. So, but yeah, there you have it. I don't know what my next video is going to be about on the thing. Haven't really made up my mind on what I want to do next, but yeah, I think for right now it's sitting pretty good. But if you like this type of video, or you just want to find out what I'm going to be doing next on my 300 SD, just subscribe to the channel, give me a like, and I guess we'll see you in the next video. Hopefully it's not in another month or 2.